Hey, Coach. Congratulations. Hope you've sobered up. Um,
Doing fantastic over here.
that's what tomorrow's for. Um, just thinking about your playoff run, did you feel like you guys sort of had like a flip the switch moment in the playoffs too, like heading into the finals, or was it just something about like the matchup with Phoenix that allowed you guys to really excel in that series?
Well, I'll say this. I don't think Seattle is a number seven seed. Um, I think they have a really great roster. Um, multiple Olympians there, uh, a hungry team. Um, it's kind of hoping that maybe they had slipped to eight because I know they had given Minnesota some problems too, so it wasn't just us. Um, but we felt like, going into the Phoenix series, I mean, we were pretty battle tested. We've been pushed to the brink. Um, I thought, I said this after game five with Indiana. Um, it didn't feel great leaving the arena, just having barely beat Indiana. But like when you go back and watch those games, like I didn't feel like it was so much of us playing bad as they played great. Like Indiana played great. They had great individual performances. I think they're coached great. So like, don't sit there and be like, "Oh, you guys are barely beat." No, that was a very good team, very resilient team. That had just went through Atlanta. Like, I don't think instead of trying to not give like take away from our credit, like why don't we give them credit? Because I thought, uh, you know, Kelsey Mitchell, Sims, Boston. I mean, they're a formidable bunch, and I thought they played great. Shea Petty came and hit huge shots. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like sometimes you just gotta, pat them on the back and say good job and run back on defense. But I thought we were very battle tested, and I think that confidence, knowing that you can win close games, you can win big games. Um, sorry. Um, anyways, we felt good about going into it just because, hey, we'd had good success against them in the regular season. Um, and probably it just felt like a little bit better matchup for us than those small, speedy guards that are just a headache for not just my team, but a whole lot of teams in the league.
Got it.
Thanks, Sabrina. We'll go Jackie.
Hi, Becky. Thanks for taking the time. There was some coaching news. Alex Sarama of Cleveland will most likely be going to the Portland opening. And just again on this idea of the coaching carousel and there being more NBA talent, I'm just curious, who are some people you know around the NBA that you think would fit very well in the W?
Oh man, I don't know. That's a loaded question. I've not even thought about that for 5 seconds of my life, Jackie. Uh, Look, I mean, there's a lot of quality coaches over there. I think organizations are going to go out and try to find the best
Mhm.
available talent. I think it has to. Um, I do think you have to find people that can find some, uh, not just basketball wise, but you're going to have to connect with these ladies on more than just um, an X's and O's front. Um, but I'm not surprised that the trend is shifting there. Um, but so I would just suspect to probably see more of it. Um, but there's probably a long list of people now being the right fit. That's another question. But X's and O's wise, there's a lot of quality coaches.
I appreciate that. And just to follow up on this notion of coaching, I'm sure you heard about Dawn Staley talked about an interview she had with the Knicks. And once again, it's a question about women breaking the glass ceiling in the NBA. And she was asked, "Do you think it will happen?" And she's like, "I don't think it will happen in my lifetime." And so I guess I just wonder, Do you think it will happen in yours? But also, does this whole glass ceiling in the NBA matter when coaching in the W should be something coaches should value as well?
Hmm. Um, when I left the NBA, in some ways I thought, it could happen in 2 years. And in other ways I thought this ain't going to happen for another 20 years. Now Don isn't that much older than me, so I don't know, we're close to the same lifespan probably. Um, it could happen. There's really no good reason why it shouldn't or couldn't, other
Mhm.
than people um are uncomfortable with change or doing something that's never been done. I said it. I know I've said it, had lots of conversations with Pop. If my hypothetical balls are bigger than the set of the person sitting in there, like this probably isn't going to happen. Like, because most of the time when you go in there, something went wrong, something's not right. Like, a lot of times, the people that are doing the hiring, their jobs are on the line too. So people aren't so gung ho to do something that's never been done, right? Because I could tell you, I could go in there and get a job and I could do it all right. And do as good a job or a better job than a man, and maybe he fails, but it's not going to be looked at the same way as if I were to do the same thing, and it's just not. And so it's a lot to sign up for. I think some of it needs to start changing. The fact that there's not one woman uh, on the men's side in a head coaching position. I mean, as far as I know, Jenny Bosick is the only one that's even on a front bench.
Mm.
So I think if you want to look for reasons why not to do something, you can always find them. And if you want to look for reasons to do things, uh, you can find those too. It's just a matter of what you're looking for. And I think if somebody wants to authentically look into it, there's no reason why it couldn't or shouldn't be done. But every job, whether it's a W job or an MBA job, are incredibly hard to get, because there's only a handful of them. They're the most coveted jobs in all of basketball, I think. Um, and they're becoming even more valuable in the sense of people don't want to deal with the college, NIL, and the transfer stuff. So it becomes even more appealing, that you don't have to deal with some of that stuff that you do on the college level.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. We'll go Andrew and Darrell. Last couple.
Thanks, Carly. Yep. Thanks, Carly. As always, congrats to the Pride of Rapid City getting another title right there. From the age of Sam Marine to having Sam and Caden there and the whole press conference, what was the most enjoyable moment after you all got the title for you?
Just being with the team. I mean, probably out on the court celebrating. I think there's a lot of value in just standing on the court with each other like that. That's kind of like our battleground. That's our place. Um, it's our most comfortable place. But at times this year, it was very uncomfortable place, right? Being on that court. And I think um, seeing their faces, celebrating with them, seeing their tears, seeing my tears, like it was just, it hit different this year. Um, but probably out on the court and then obviously in the locker room, seeing them pop champagne. And of course I had to do, the Tootsie Roll because no championship would be complete without me doing that. Um, but no, I thought I liked being out on the court with them, hoisting the trophy out there.
That was an excellent Tootsie Roll for you right there. When I asked you when it was uncomfortable, you and Nikki Fargas made that move to bring Melissa over and how that helped, as well as seeing sharing the ball more, the trust still in Kristen Bell. When a lot of people were questioning if Kristen Bell was Ace's material. You talk about your bond with Nikki and how lockstep you two are, and how that led to another title for you all.
Yeah, I mean, me and Nikki are in constant communication. It's nice to have a boss that also has been in your shoes. She's been a head coach. She knows basketball. I think we speak the same language in a lot of ways. Um, and we started throwing around names of possibilities. And when she said Melissa, I was like, if you can make that happen, go make that happen. I thought she was a player that um, was very talented. I know because I'd seen it firsthand. She lit us up, I think, probably I don't remember if it was 22 or 23 in Indiana. So I had a high degree of um, respect just for her skill set. I thought that, I've been a player and there's something to being happy as a player. I always say all the time, I want the happiest team because happy players make better players. And same thing with employees, any employee. Happy employees make better employees. They're more productive. They come to work with a certain kind of energy. And I thought maybe that was a player that kind of just lost her joy. And I was hoping that, we could pump some life back into her, bringing her around the group and vice versa. I thought she pumped life back into us. And I pretty much threw her out there. I think second game she was with us, she was starting. Um, I believe in Connecticut. I think she might have even had a double her first game, but it really kind of started changing the dynamic and the trajectory of our team when we added her in. And I think we would have got it figured out probably eventually, but we definitely got it figured out a little bit quicker with her. Even though she took some of those bad losses with us, she was there. But it started to look and feel different. And there was a moment there where we had lost three in a row, I think, and I just felt like those could have easily been wins. Like just timing wise, AJ got hurt. We missed a bunch of layups in Washington D.C. Things that kind of could have gone the other way and they just didn't. But I could feel that we were improving in some ways that I felt good about, even though it wasn't necessarily translating into wins right away. Um, and that was important for me to relay to the group that, hey, we're getting better. We're getting better. I know it's not wins like we all want, but like we're moving in the right direction. So just stay the course.
Thanks, and look forward to the parade speech on Friday.
Oh, I don't know if I do. I'm gonna keep it PG this year.
All right, last question, Darrell. Last question, please.
He's on mute.
Darrell.
There we
There-
go.
Okay.
There you
Sorry.
go.
Thanks.
No problem.
Quickly, Coach, I just wanted to give you sort of your flowers because I feel like the most overlooked moments in this playoff run were the timeouts you called in Game 5 towards down the stretch when Jackie was kind of hemmed up before, still went to overtime, but you didn't, you avoided disaster. You got the last shot. And then in Game 3, you got a timeout and executed where, again, that game could have went different. So the series could have ended there or the finals could be still going on. Who knows? I just want to hear your thought process on those really decisive moments. And then you spent time in multiple markets. What's Las Vegas like as a professional sports work environment? How's it treated you?
Well, I'll answer the easy one first. Vegas has been great. Um, this is truly, turning itself into the sports capital of the world, I believe. The way they uh, just taxes wise, the way they want businesses to set up here, I think is very uh, it's lucrative, but it's also enticing, I think, for businesses to come here and want to start. Obviously, the betting world has taken on that's another whole world in itself, sports betting, but it's the capital there. But I think you're just going to see more and more sports teams come to Vegas to do business. And I think the fan base, I mean, it's been absolutely wonderful to coach here and live here. I love it. Going back to the timeouts and stuff, it's there's only a certain handful of ways that, a coach can actually impact games in the sense of, you know, how you manage timeouts, your rotations, your schemes, some of those things, playing time, stuff like that. Um, but, trying to put your team in the best position to win, um, whether that's an ATO, a scheme coming out of a timeout, those different things I think are just little wrinkles that you're not ever going to do. We came out in a box in one time, and then we did a triangle in two, and it's not anything you can do over the course of a game. Like teams are going to figure it out, but you're just constantly trying to steal possessions here and there. One possession here, one possession there, and timeouts. We practice them. I think I have a lot of their trust in those moments that we're going to get a good look, we're going to get the ball where we want. But I had every intention of calling that timeout with Jackie. I kind of knew I wanted to leave no time on the clock. Ka was really crawling into her. So then it was just a matter of, you know, calling it and then setting up somebody to get a decent look. And, you know, at that point in that game, it happened to be Asia. Sometimes it's Jackie, sometimes it's Jewel, sometimes it's Chelsea. So it's also nice to have options there, and not just where a team can hone in on one person. But it's something that I can do, you know, where maybe they haven't seen it before. Maybe I go and draw something of what I just saw working that game. But I do think down the stretch there is a lot of value in, you know, how you use your timeouts and what you know, schemes and whatnot. You know, a lot of times I got to use the other team's timeout to put Kia Stokes in for defense, you know, so there's a lot of just little chess matches probably going on back and forth that I really enjoy that side of coaching. It's the one way you feel like you can actually impact a game, you know, get a shot here. That you get to do something that maybe they haven't seen all game or all series even. Having those little things in your back pocket for sure.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate it.